Welcome back, guys, to Unveiling with Nisi. I am so grateful to be here with you on this wonderful journey. You may be going to work, on your way home, on a road trip, or just chilling at home. Either way, I'm happy that you tuned in to Unveil with us. This is episode 10 of my podcast, and to say I am joyful is an understatement. Before I go off babbling, let's talk about the last episode. If you have not yet listened, I implore you to jump over to your podcast platform, not Apple Podcasts. I am not there as yet, but head over to Spotify, Google Podcasts, Audible, Amazon Music, or my YouTube page, Nisian's Journal, to have a listen. In the last episode, I invited two of my close friends to have a chat about motherhood. It was such a refreshing conversation because we touched on some very sensitive topics that push us to dig a little deeper and unveil the weight we carry as mothers. So welcome to part 2, guys. Let's dive in. Hey, this is Nisian, and you are tuned into Unveiling with Nisi. In this podcast, I want to share some of my life experiences that incorporate both personal growth and how I overcame some challenges I faced on my journey to a more peaceful life. I strongly believe in the saying, each one teach one, because everyone has some lesson or advice that can lead to personal or professional growth in another. I want to use this platform to invite friends, family, and friends that will eventually become family to share their lived experiences as well. Stories will be shared about my personal experiences in relationships, friendships, and hardships that made me into the woman I am today. There will be difficult conversations, and there will also be easy ones. But the difficult ones are what I love to share. Through difficult conversations, we can find answers that we never knew we wanted. These answers bring us both peace and some level of acceptance, in my opinion. So come on a journey with me as I create space not just to release through conversations, but to also have you as my listeners take something away at the end of the discussions.
What strategies have you found helpful for maintaining your own identity while being a mother? So, what strategies have you found helpful for maintaining your own identity while being a mother? And Sashika, you did this a lot. You really do a lot of self care.
So going for waxes or getting my nails done, those things to me, those are tools. True self-care is more from a mental standpoint. And sometimes the mental is giving what it's supposed to give. Other times the mental is not giving what it's supposed to give. And so I have been on a constant push and pull with maintaining identity, so much so that it got to the point where there was a point in motherhood where I completely lost myself. Like, me never know what interests me no more. Like, I feel like some women can relate, others may not. But I feel like I got to a point where I just didn't know who is Sashika, what Sashika likes, what makes her tick, whatever. And it got to the point where I was just like, all right, I think the biggest problem that I was having was finding Sashika pre Aria instead of honing into Sashika post Aria. And so getting to know post Aria
Right.
Sashika.
That is true.
But I didn't realize that right away. It took me well into like over a year of
Yeah.
mothering to figure it out. And then once I figured that out, now I'm slowly getting
Mm-hmm.
to know this version of me, what makes
Yeah.
her tick, what she likes, what she doesn't like. And it's like getting to know, it's like a new relationship, getting to know a whole new person.
Yeah.
So the version of myself that I was before her does not exist anymore. And I think I
Yeah.
struggled for a long time trying to be that girl
Person. Yeah.
versus looking at who I am now. And so
With that, right.
I'm working on my identity still post.
And it's a journey, but it's a
Yeah.
journey and it's growth because this is a different, like,
It
this is a
is.
change in your life, have were you a mother once? I always ask myself that. Were you a dialysis nurse when you just came into dialysis? Were you born into dialysis? Are you going to know
Mhm.
everything? Are you going to know all the ins and outs? And that is also motherhood. Were you a mother before? All of us talk about mistakes that we made. I can think about mistakes and that my mom made, and I don't think they were mistakes. She was just doing what she knew, or how
Mhm.
she knew how to do what she was doing. And my mom was a teen mom. So you can just imagine, like, not being able to have certain resources present to you, or not having your partner then and there to help you through
Yep.
motherhood. So it's like, I try to tell, like, many of the persons that I speak to that are also mothers, and I'd be like, don't beat up yourself. Like, this is your first time doing this. You're going to make mistakes. Things are going to
Mhm.
happen. You just have to always make sure that you're doing right to the person that you brought into this world. Maintaining an identity of who I am. As you said, it's like I'm no longer the Nisian that was in college. I'm no longer the Nisian that didn't have a child. I'm no longer single Nisi that can just get up and go on girls trip with my girlfriend and say, "Hey Nisi, where I got this? You can't come." I'm like, "Yee." Have the rain check, have a husband. We are
Mhm.
now a unit.
Mhm.
I have to check with him to be like, hey, what is going on? And if I can actually go.
Yeah.
And it's not like saying I'm asking permission, but it's out of respect because of my partnership. So
Yep.
this whole
Respect,
thing,
right.
as a mother,
Uh-huh.
as a wife, as a partner, we are always going to try our best to make sure that we have a respectable household. And the strategy that I try to keep is try to be like, self-aware of who I am and what are the
Mhm.
things that make me happy, and kind of hone in on that. And one of the big things is that I love to be creative, so I'm always finding that. So that is
Mhm.
one of my go-tos. Like, if I want to try something different, I will go out there and try it, and I'll do it, and I'll find the time to try to do it, because it just keeps me feeling alive, and it keeps me feeling like Nisi. And I like the way you put it, Sashika. Like, those are tools when you go and get your nails done, and when you go and get your massage or you get your waxing. Those are good tools for you, because those are your alone time, and it kind
Yep.
of give you that level of self-care. But
And the
it is a
reason
tool of self-care, because it helps to bring you, if you look good, as I always say, if you look good, you feel good.
you feel good,
And
and that's
that
the
is a
thing.
good
Like the
thing.
reason why I call them tools is because when you go out to do these things in that moment, if you're gonna get a pedicure in that moment, you are in heaven. It's bliss for
Yeah, you're
you.
alone.
But then you come out of that and go back into reality,
The tea.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Chantal, did you tell us your strategy? You're over here smiling and
No, because this
agreeing.
is such a, like, I mean, this is a really good talk for us to have. But my strategy for what honing my identity after
For maintaining your own
maintain
identity, yeah, while being a mother, yeah.
Miss, I don't know who maybe I trust. Uh, Listen to me. So, all right. So, I think I tried so hard to hold on to, as Sashika said, the person who I was before, having a baby, to the point where, like, I don't think I've ever missed a mark where me feel looking me in the house and me feel like me look. Then would I say pop down? Like I try so much. Like me always a pass the mirror, because it's like for me, and it's because of, like, I'm in the whole industry of how you look and whatever. So I try not to miss. Like if you look good, you feel good. For me, like I'll be having a shitty day. I'm a week of dress up. Like me literally will do
Yeah.
that because it helps me. No, it's serious. It's serious. But
Yeah.
no, but I really just like so now what I do, it's more mental. So I don't have to dress up anymore if I feel like shit. Sorry, but I really like I do journaling a lot, and I do
Mm-hmm.
devotion. So I find that that really has helped me to step into my newer self, because when you dress up and
Yeah.
you feel like mental, you feel like shit. Like dressing up is like after you take off all of that, like you're back to being in that slum. So I had to do a lot of
You.
inside work
Yeah.
so that I am able to just be okay. And I think too that I've learned to give myself a lot more grace now. Before,
Oh,
amen.
Jesus. Can the
Listen,
church say amen?
before,
Amen.
trust me, I didn't know that word. Like, honestly, didn't know that word. And I think it's now because I have someone who I'm nurturing, I'm growing and stuff. Like, I have to be able to give her grace because, I always say to myself,
Yep.
like, she's just here 3 years, 3+ years. I'm on this earth for 30 plus years, and I'm still getting worked up
Mm-hmm.
for simple stuff. So that whole
Things,
understanding,
yeah.
like I think I'm more of a graceful person, like giving grace more than anything. That's my new self, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
It's
I am
nice,
just
it's nice.
loving this conversation.
Yes,
It's like, like a
that's it.
relief. It's
Yeah,
like a
it
release.
is.
It's very
We did that.
therapeutic.
So, what are some of the biggest challenges you faced as a mother and how did you overcome them? My big one was breastfeeding. So, in all honesty, I was under stress. So, I was not producing enough milk. And everybody idea was breast is best. Why is she not
Fed.
breastfeeding?
Fed is
You know?
best.
Thank you. Thank you. And I was so like I was under so much stress because if you knew, I think I was moving from Oklahoma
Mm-hmm.
to
From
Florida,
Oklahoma to Florida,
and
I remember
and
this.
I was still in diapers, goody. I was still in diapers. So it's like I was moving from Oklahoma to Florida and then from Florida to
Mm.
go to Jamaica for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
I had to do paperwork for Azalea, get her passport done. Walgreens just shitty, so then couldn't even take the picture for Azalea. I had to get a white sheet and take my own passport picture for Azalea and be able to carry it to the place to get it cut. Then also go and collect a live birth certificate because that was not available in the hospital. So I had to go to the Department of Health or whatever and go collect those paperwork in order to submit all that paper to get her passport. And also I have to go through the process of
Oh
packing,
no.
selling, to move, to drive 36 hours, over 36 hours to Florida from
With a
Oklahoma.
So, guys, it was not 36. I think I was just in the moment and exaggerating. It was actually about 20, 26, about 26, 24 hours. I think, yeah, I think it was about 20, 20 something hours that it took us to reach Orlando from Oklahoma.
with a
With
newborn.
a
With
Mm.
newborn
a
baby.
newborn. Don't forget that
Oh
part.
God. I was stressed the fuck out. So the last thing on my
Right.
mind was milk.
And
Baby,
go,
take the
that's it.
Similac. Good, good. Take the Similac because I was so exhausted from doing all of that and not taking into consideration that I had to prepare for my family to come here. That is also another thing because I had to fly my mom here, fly my sister here, and then also incorporate them into the move.
A lot.
You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot on my plate at the time. Of course, I would like to think about breastfeeding and having that nurturing, cute feeling with my child, but it was not going to happen for that first couple weeks that like when she entered the world. And in all honesty, I s- I still look at it and see how hard I had to do like everything that I had to do like after having her, and I would not want her to grow up and see me as this woman that was just always hardworking. Because I see my mom as always hardworking, but my mom was
Mm-hmm.
not there.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
That's the thing. I can
Mm-hmm.
say that I was provided shelter, comfort, food, clothing, everything that I needed.
Yeah.
I
Basic
had all I
needs. Yep.
needed, all my needs were fulfilled. But guess what? When it come on to emotional needs, where that I go?
And then that's what we realize now. I don't know for anybody else,
Mm-hmm.
but now, like, you see where that was such a, whew, it was
Breathe,
so
ma, breathe.
needed. Mhm.
let's just say our lives would have probably been completely different had we had that when we were younger.
Next, that's
But
Because what happens
bum.
is
Yup.
we go and look for it in the wrong places.
for the next. That's for the next podcast.
Listen, that is a lot to unpack.
We'll save that one for
That
another
is a
day.
lot to unpack. Yeah, continue, Chantal. We're saying that the biggest challenges you faced as a mother, and how did you overcome them?
Also, the flip side to to the whole, I had the same breastfeeding challenge, but the thing is that I went through breastfeeding aversion. Oh my god, I don't know if you guys know about that, but it's
Hmm.
basically like postpartum depression in breastfeeding. You get really angry and agitated with just,
Yeah.
you want to have them off your breast. Girl, it was crazy for me.
Yeah.
I got so, like, one of the time I realized that it was happening when I actually realized, and I was like, what the hell? I know I'm not going through postpartum because once I'm not breastfeeding, like, I'm good. But the minute she wants breast and she latch on, oh my god, literally felt like I wanted to tear my hair out. But
Mm-hmm.
then I literally had to breathe through the whole breastfeeding thing. As I tell you, breathing for me is like top notch. So like when she would want to latch, I would have to talk to myself and say, hey, the baby has to eat and all of that. But it was bad. It was really
Mm-hmm.
bad for me. Until, praise the Lord, hallelujah, she got off the breast, and that was like a whole day to rejoice, in itself. But yeah, that was it. The whole
Yeah.
getting over it was her
Yeah.
Yeah.
just coming off breast, weaning.
My nipple was just not coming out. So that part I had to train. Like they gave me all the resources that I needed to help my nipple come out to help with breastfeeding. Yeah, all those attachments and stuff that we had to use, that I had to use to put on, especially when they told me, oh, you just have to pump more. And then, knowing that I didn't even have the time to
Hmm.
drink enough water, that is the biggest thing, to keep hydrated. Especially when you're breastfeeding, make sure that you're eating, your 3 meals a day and your snacks. That will help with the production
Hmm.
and better quality milk too for your child. And I was not able to do a lot of that. There was not a lot of time to me in the moment. There was not a lot of time to do all of those things. So telling me to pump was like, ha.
Hmm.
Telling me to breastfeed was like, ha. Like all of that was just a lot. And I feel like even more when I hear people say, oh, why are you not breastfeeding? It was like, it kind of hurt me a little bit because imagine you sit on your pump for 2 hours and you only get 1 ounce.
And that's why people feel mind their business. True.
No, for real, because
That
you
is
sit
so
down on your
true.
pump for 2 hours. I'm hear about people who sit down
Let me
get
tell
three
you
hours and get
something.
half an ounce. And I literally sit
I
and pump for
am
2 hours and got 1 ounce out of one breast and not even an ounce over out of the next breast.
I am the CEO and head honcho at Mind Your Business Ministry, and I will give you the number one way for all of us to be able to mind our business is for us to drink our
That's
water.
Yeah.
true.
If you're drinking your water, you'll be too busy going
Peeing.
to the bathroom to mind people's
True.
business.
That
Okay?
is
That part.
true.
Mind your
That
business.
part.
I think that is a big reason why moms feel so inadequate sometimes
Yeah.
because of other people's
Yeah.
projections. Why you're not doing this? Why you're not doing that? Maybe you should do this way. Maybe you should mind your business.
And I went through clinic. I went through clinic in Jamaica because I was there when Azela was really young, and I would hear some of the nurses saying to the mothers like, "Why I get the baby's bottle and the baby's so young?" Poor me, have the bottle in my bag. Depend Jesus Christ, I'm if you take out the bottle,
Oh my God. So the thing, yeah,
like
like, I think a lot of mothers need to have, I would say, have friends who have had a child before, because you kind of need to hear
yeah,
certain things.
But you got to be careful with that too.
That's true. Well, that's true, yeah. It's kind of
Hmm.
like a give and take. There was this other
Hmm.
struggle for me, like, so Kara was born 5 pounds 6 ounces, so she was a small baby. right throat. I guess she was smaller than the rest of the, just regular baby because people in Jamaica love when the baby them fat, them for fat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
Darling, over here too.
everywhere
They
I
love a
went,
chunky baby.
oh, okay. Mm-mm. I everywhere I went is like, oh, um, the baby, you're not giving the baby enough milk, or you're not do this or no. Oh, the baby, she's small. No, listen to me. I am telling you, I was strong enough for that not to put me into postpartum, to
Yeah.
hold me fret, say something happened to the
To
baby,
your
or
child.
me
Yep.
not doing enough
Yep.
because like she's so small. I remember
I'm
going to
so
the
irritated.
doctor and listen, I remember going to
It's
the doctor and I was
triggering.
Very.
saying to the doctor that I said, you think the baby is too small? And she said, no. She said, look at you. You think you're big? That's what she said to me. And she said,
Thank you.
she asked me if the baby is eating properly, if she's drinking, and Cara was doing everything. She was moving. There was nothing like that. You can look at her and say, oh, something is wrong. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my God, I had to be talking to myself continuously, like every time when something comes up where somebody just say, oh, she's small, or oh, you're probably not doing it. Listen, it's bad. It's bad. People like really just think you probably pop out the pit for just them, or just for them for just look and observe and just tell you shit.
Tear you apart,
And I can
literally.
give you an
Yeah.
At the most vulnerable
at the
time
most
as well.
vulnerable
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
That is the part,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes you're trying, and that internal struggle that you're going through, just having your child and just being like, oh, I wonder if she's getting enough nutrients or whatever that she need, and then somebody else just stopping on top of you, be like, why the penny so maga, why the penny this, why the penny that. And I'm like, for
Yeah.
example, I was very skinny when I was younger. Ryan was skinny and
Mhm.
tall when he was younger. Do I expect Azalea to
Yeah.
be obese? No. Do I expect her to be fat?
Mm.
No. Do I expect her to gain a bunch of weight? No. And even though just recently we went to the doctor, and the doctor is like, oh, she's way below on the BMI scale. And she's like, oh, you need to give Azalea these Pediasure, da da da. Mind you, I did start give Azalea Pediasure when she was younger because they were pushing her about her weight and everything. And Azalea started to have diarrhea. So
Mm-mm.
I decided that, you know what, you're going to give her the meals that she need. Like, you give her the protein, you give her the veggies. And the one thing about my child, she will eat up her veggies and her fruits, but when it come on to meat, I don't know what's the problem. She just don't like it. And if that is what she don't like, she
And
don't like,
that's
at least she eats her
fine.
protein,
She's
she getting. And
vegetarian.
that's the vibe what me I get from her. Like, she just don't want to eat every meat, right? So they're like, oh, you
Mhm.
need to give her yogurt, you need to give her Pediasure, you need to give her this drink, that drink. So I decided, okay, you know, she's going to eat what she's going to eat. Honestly, if she's eating, I am happy. In all honesty,
Exactly.
because
Exactly.
she's still
If she was
vibrant.
not eating,
if she's
yeah.
That's
not
what you
if
look
she's not
at.
eating, that's my problem. But if she's going to get up and she's going to eat a bowl of fruit, I make her like a acai bowl, she eat it off. I make her like a fruit salad, she
Mm.
eat it off. The only thing like I have issues with is just meat, because she will eat off the rice and peas, but she'll just finger around the chicken and she finger around
Azalea is
the
a
ribs.
vegetarian, and that's even good. Cause I wish me never name No, it's true. I wish I could substitute meat for stuff because it's really like, if I could have it just one time for the month, that would be good. You know how much changes
Yeah.
your body would have go
That's a
through
little
and how
that's a
happy
little
it would have.
excessive. That's a little excessive.
I'm
Me
talking, but I
can't
would never
manage.
do that. But
That's a little
that's
excessive. This is coming
Azalea
from the
is
person who
clean.
will literally eat bacon every day. Like,
Girl.
Yes, Tashika, I think I know that. That's
nah, nah,
Not gonna
nah,
work.
don't. Mm-mm,
and
mm-mm.
and I
Not
want to
gonna
add
work.
to this, though, one of the other struggles that I face is just finding proper childcare. That is another thing here, like just finding good childcare. And
It's not
you
just
will.
in the States, miss.
Yeah, because I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, nobody's going to parent your child like, oh, you will parent your child. And for me,
Definitely not.
I am a little different because I don't have Azalea. Like when it comes on to holidays, yes, I'll
Mhm.
have her here. But then when she goes back home, the expectation is that my mom and my sister and anyone that is around her is giving her the quality care that I would give. And to me, nobody's going to give what you can give. It's your
Trust.
Mhm.
fruit.
Yeah.
It's your the fruit of your womb.
Mhm.
That is your child, and nobody's going to parent like you would parent your child. So that's
Right.
another struggle I faced, is childcare, and then also dealing with my child being away from me. I know that I am not the only person having my child away from me, because there's a lot of Jamaicans living in America that send their kids back to school, whether that be at a young age or an older age, and they have to deal with that. But there is a additional worry when it comes on to being in a whole different country. Sometimes I try to act like
From it.
it's
Right.
okay and I'm working through it and blah blah blah, but some things I have realized that if I don't know, it's better I don't know, if you get what I mean. Like if I don't know, it's not on the forefront of my mind. It's not bothering me because I'm an overthinker. So if I know something, it's going to
Yeah.
frustrate me, it's going to stress me out, right? And I'm very sporadic. Like
Mm.
if something extreme happen, best believe say goody I go on plane and goody I go take our child. No plan back of that.
Mm.
But me we just figure it out.
Mhm.
No, seriously,
Figure
like if
it out.
something
Figure it
happen,
out along
like
the
it's
way.
like I will just fly there, get child, come back and be like, Ryan, we just have to figure it out, right?
But
Mhm.
that's, I think that's just a skill that's innate to
Yeah.
moms. Like we
Right.
are the
Right. Right.
queens of figuring it out
Yes.
at the drop of a
Mhm.
dime.
Yeah.
Like I just feel, I don't
Yeah.
know. I think it's just something that it's an ability that you develop the moment you become a
Yeah.
mother. Like you
That's
figure it out.
true.
And also it's like there was something in me, like I want to know everything. And it's sometimes if you are faced in a
You know,
if
I
you're
know
placed in a
everything.
Mm-mm.
situation,
Mm-mm.
you cannot. It's like when you're faced with everything, you need therapy. Like when you're faced with it all, you need some kind of mental help. Because in all honesty, like if me know certain things, I am easily triggered. And I can't, when it comes on to Azalea, I'm easily triggered. Everything else can flow off on my back. But when it comes on to
Do you
Azalea, it's
want to know
hard.
why children are the biggest mirrors for their moms?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like your child, Kai, Azalea, Arya, they are a mirror. You look at them and you. So what we're doing is we're parenting our child, but we're also parenting
Ourselves.
our child, like
Yes. Your inner
ourselves.
child. Yes.
Like you're literally parenting both, and I mean, it's useful to some degree. Well, not to some degree, it's definitely useful for us because yes, we get to parent ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
but we get to parent our little ones differently.
Yes.
So like if I lose my patience and I probably go a couple decibels higher when I'm talking to Aria, I then go back and say I'm
Sorry.
sorry for yelling,
Yes. Yes.
or I'm sorry for raising my voice.
Yes.
You think Marcia did I tell me she's sorry for yell?
Ooh. My mother would have been
The
like, come eat
Marvel
the
would
dinner.
never.
Come eat. Come
Right?
eat.
So
That is the
like I
sorry.
mean, but our children are the biggest mirrors that we have.
Yeah.
Like they literally show you yourself. And as I say, I feel like I'm dealing with, I say that I feel like I'm dealing with my mini me, but while she's my mini me, it's not really her, you know, it's
Yeah.
me. It's my mini
Yeah.
me. Like this
Right.
young Sashika, that's what it is.
Yes.
So very interesting.
Wow.
It is. It
But
is.
let me say something. So the other day I was I can't even find it back, but someone had posted something about the minute you said, well, you thought of bringing a child into this world, you are a selfish person. I don't even know um
Like
fully what they were
selfless.
saying, or what, yeah, you're selfish.
Oh.
um because of what about what Sashika was saying, but it was in a different
Way.
perspective, where he was
Yeah.
saying that, oh, you
He,
know,
stop. You said he?
wait, listen, first of all, it's he, it's a he, but the he
Father God.
is to a he, if you get what I'm saying.
Okay, okay,
So
okay.
I replied to the person and said that it's foolish because some of us actually out here wanting to have someone to nurture. And is it selfish to say, hey, I want to give my child? Oh, they were saying that you want to give your child what you didn't get as a child. So may I say, me in a myself would really want to have a child and give them what I had. Me never, no,
Okay, me
because
get what you say now.
there's some
Okay.
aspect of growing up that yes,
Yeah.
I would love to give, but then there's some aspect that no. You
Yeah.
understand? So I said, is it selfish for me wanting to give my child better than what I had growing
Oh
up?
my
You
God,
know?
yes.
And then I
Yeah, I
said,
think
these
all of
these
us.
things always come from people who either can't have a child, like, biologically you're a man, so you can have a picnic, or people who really don't want to have a child.
Yeah.
So,
And
like
that's
my,
fine, but don't
and
project
that is
that onto
fine,
other
but don't
people.
project. But then you see, it's
Yeah.
so funny because like when I went on the page and on the comments, the whole, like, you can imagine 1,000 people under the post sharing the same view.
No, in all honesty, sometimes it's a lot of monkey see, monkey do. And I have to, like, when it comes onto the internet and comments, when it comes onto the internet and comments, a lot of people are seeking validation from each other and will agree to the bone to certain things just because of feeling relevant. And that is my fear also
Mm-hmm.
when it comes onto the internet, is like having my child grow up with this kind of technology and seeking validation from people online that in themselves don't even know what kind of life they're really living, because you can be whatever you want to be online. Just imagine I can post
Yeah.
the good things about motherhood every day and nobody don't know, say, okay, maybe over here so I contemplate suicide, or me over here so I pop pills every day, or me
That
over
part.
here so I smoke whatever I want to smoke to forget through motherhood. But guess what, the beauty is online. So it's like a lot of people can't. Girl, getting on TikTok, I get it. It was to promote my podcast and everything, but I can understand on the level where a lot of people can just post whatever they want to post, and they find the people. They find the
Yeah.
That's
people.
true.
Clone find
Yeah,
clone.
they do.
Monkey find monkey. Look here, there is so many different things that I
This
see
part
people
has to
agreeing
stay in
to.
there.
No, because there is so many
It's
That
people
part
true.
has
agreeing
to.
to ridiculousness, and it's like it's thousands of people agreeing. So it's like, to me, you just have to be careful or be mindful of what rabbit hole you slip down, because if you read something too long you
Mm-hmm.
may start agree with it. If you see it a lot, you may become desensitized and start saying, you know what, there is a point. I think I saw a YouTube video with this guy named Jay Frey, and he was interviewing a
Oh
guy,
God.
and the guy say, you know, see the girl them no want have no more pitney, and him said to the guy, say, you know, say, yeah, say something, and me says, he must say what, he must say what, like, is it that baby mother status is a thing? Because you guys are not talking about marrying the person, you know, you're not talking about building a foundation or building a family. You're talking about, oh, the woman them no want have pitney no more. Who want to get up and struggle every day for raise a child?
Yeah.
Raise a child takes a
By
lot
yourself.
by yourself. Sometimes I say to people, I don't understand how some women do it alone. I don't even know how my mother do it alone. That is a strong back woman. Because when I tell you I would pack my bag and run where, pack it and get up, okay? Because it's like it is so hard. When the other day me slap off my finger with one sledgehammer, and I had no time to be angry. Me just have to laugh. And Azela depend, Mommy, you okay? Mommy, I want popsicle. Mommy, I'm hungry. Mommy, I want to bed. Mommy, you see, me could I remember
Hmm.
about me slapping off my finger? I had to just slap on a band-aid on the finger and become a mother all over again. So the finger a pump, pump, pump like it have one heartbeat for itself. Did I have time to pay it any mind? I had no time. I did not want to take a Tylenol, and I had to pop a Tylenol. I had to pop in a Tylenol, and I had to be like, you know what? Let's get this day done. I
Hmm.
had no choice.
Yep. We don't get days
You
off. We don't get sick days.
thank
We don't
you.
know.
Thank you. Mister, me slap off my finger and then they sit down and laugh with the slap off finger. You hear? Goody sit down there and kin teeth until me tell everybody say, look here, the day done, we go outside done. Let's all just flow inside. And Azalea started with
Oh
her.
yeah, I was on the phone.
Okay.
Oh my god.
So my biggest challenge in motherhood and whether or not I overcame is a
A
whole
whole
different
different
story.
story.
But one of my biggest thing was the exhaustion that I experienced while trying to adapt to a demanding sleep schedule
Oh
as well as
yeah.
as well as a feeding schedule because Aria was predominantly breastfed
Mm-hmm.
from the day she came out of the womb
Mm-hmm.
until about 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
And Arya did not sleep. Arya would sleep for 30 minutes and wake up, or she would sleep for an hour and wake up. And she was a boob girl, okay? She lived on titty. Like, that was just it. So I think that was probably one of the biggest challenges for me. And that exhaustion rolled over into everything else.
Yeah.
So, like, the feeding schedule was just so tedious. I did it. I was making the milk. It was coming like no tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever she would go down for a nap, I would have to choose, should I go sleep for the 20 minutes or should I go sleep for, or do I make something to eat?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a constant battle between those things. And I was home alone because they was at work. And, so like that was probably the biggest challenge for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how I overcame it, girl, I did not. I did not. I did not overcome it
Yeah.
because Arya did not start sleeping through the night until she was over a year old. So for a whole year, that's why I mean I have no brain cells. If it's
Yeah.
not on my calendar, I
You
don't
don't
remember.
remember, right?
Oh my
I
god.
tell people that all the
Because
time. Yeah.
sleep deprivation is a real
Yeah.
thing, and to be sleep deprived for an extended period of
It's a
time,
lot.
I have no brain cells, leave.
None.
I mean, I have no brain cells. Me say it all the time, but because me laugh, me think people think me a joke, but me genuinely not have the brain. Like my memory, shot,
I agree.
Oh
shot.
my god.
I feel the
But that
same
was
way.
that I would say is the biggest. There was other challenges, but I feel like that was the biggest one.
The only challenge I overcame was the childcare part when I was not getting good childcare and I was able to send Azalea back to Jamaica to be with my mom. That is the only way I could overcome that whole situation because there was no aid here. I had nobody here. So being here and not having anyone around us where we could drop her off in the case of an emergency to have somebody there, it's like that was the only thing I overcame by sending her back to Jamaica. So yeah, everything else is just up in the air. Everything else is going as life goes, I go. I know we've been talking about the challenges, but what can you share about a particular parenting triumph that you're really proud of? Like something that you have
I'm rocking
done.
this shit.
You
That's what I'm
are.
proud
You
of. I am
are.
rocking
I
the
love that.
hell
Right
out
behind
of
you.
this. Okay? That is my triumph. With
That
all
is
its
it.
technicalities and all its difficulties and all its
You're
challenges,
doing
I am
it.
getting up every day and showing up and I'm doing
Yep.
it. And Aria is
Being,
blooming and
yep.
blossoming.
The
I'm
I
doing it.
think
That is the
the
triumph.
one thing that I'm proud of is just stepping away from, and not necessarily stepping away, but just basically being able to be okay with Azalea being in Jamaica and going to school, meaning that it's not easy for us to send her there. But I can see where she's doing so much better compared to when she was going to school over here. Because although we when we think about bullying, you think bullying is only in like the older grades. They start out very young, and in this day and age where
Yeah.
they're on technology and they know what to say and the things to say and the things to do, it's like Azalea to me was experiencing a lot of mental constraints. And when I say mental, I mean I would go to, there was issues with Azalea where I had to go and pick her up early, and then it became to a point where I could not leave her at aftercare anymore because there was no what would I say? They did not have much coordination when it came onto aftercare. It was like the kids were all grouped in a room and they're just there. They give them some toys and they're just playing. So there was not like a schedule when it comes on to aftercare. It's just a room with kids to stay until their parents come and pick you up. And because I think Azalea is used to a certain structure, when there is no structure, my child is now chaotic. My child don't know what to do with
Mm.
herself. And it's like a lot of people I may kind of accept that. Like me have to have structure when it comes on to my daughter. It's like she's not used to just having her free will and just roaming like a wild child, right? And she loves structure and she strives in it. When there is no structure and there's no like coordination with certain things, it's like, what should I do? Play this, play that, blah blah blah. And I think that kind of
Mm-hmm.
just threw her off when it comes on to putting her in a room with a bunch of kids, and then you had kids pulling on her hair, you had kids pushing on her, you had kids that were just blatantly saying to her, I do not want to be your friend. So it's like, although I want her to,
Is it true me teach Aria how to throw hands?
it's like not like I want her to. It's like although I know that, it's like although I know
Bad
that.
mommy, guys. Bad mommy.
No, it's not bad, mommy. Okay, girl, let me tell you something. In America, KKKKK, in America, okay? Me no
No,
want
me no.
nobody turn my pitney in a punching
and
bag. Clot
and that's
them.
what they
Stay
would
away.
That
do,
me teach
and that
her.
was my issue because Azalea would throw hands, but when she throw hands and hit another child, goody I carry it over into the adults them because she ended up busting a teacher's train. And it's like once my child goes into like if she's telling you the issue.
Such a bad girl. Alright, me I stop. You're not
But the
funny.
thing is that it's like once I'm telling her, like once she's telling you what the issue is, and you keep ignoring her and ignore her and ignore her, her tantrums is just going to escalate, escalate, escalate. And when we hit that peak, it's now a downward spiral. My child has no control. That is just tantrum flaring. So I like you have to cut it out. You have to stop and listen to her. This is what she's complaining about, and she wants to talk about it. So if she don't get to talk about it, it's like it escalate, escalate, escalate to where it's just no her going into a tantrum where nobody can control. And they were like, "Oh, you need to get your child into emotional." It's like emotional therapy and all of that. And trust me, they told me about it.
Because then basically I tell her she
She
shouldn't know
don't
how
know
to
all for
regulate.
yes. And I
Mm-hmm.
did the process of, because it was the only school at the time that we had her in and everywhere else was full. So I went through the process of signing up the papers and being like, oh, I'm open to meeting up with this person, blah, blah, blah. Where I'll know then don't give me a paperwork or nothing to follow up on it. So eventually I had to end up picking up Azalea early from school. And when I go to pick up Azalea, Azalea is standing at the fence holding on, looking for mommy and daddy. She's not playing with the other kids. She's not interacting with the other kids. Sometimes I would reach like an hour early just to watch, like once they get out and go on the playground. Like I just sit out there
What they're
and just
doing.
watch what they're doing. And I'll see Azalea playing with stuff and a child would go over there and drag it out her hand. So,
So here's the thing, right? I've noticed from just having like other mom friends that have like kids that are
mm-hmm.
older and they're in the system already, the schools will never call you when your child is
Gets hit.
complaining about something, whether
Yes,
it's bullying or
Yep.
nothing. You see, the
your
moment
child react.
your child
Mm-hmm.
retaliates, they
Yeah.
call you. Perfect example, a friend of mine, her stepdaughter was getting bullied at school by some boy. Him a pull her hair on the school bus, I call her
Yeah,
names, bullying. She asked her stepdaughter, she was like, did you tell your teachers or the people who drive the bus, whatever? And she said yes, they didn't do anything. Cool. So my friend says to her, the next time you go back to school and he does it, punch him in the mouth. In her mouth.
yeah,
And the kid is like, I can't do that, kids them
yeah.
innocent. And she was like, no, the next time he does that, punch him in the
Mm-hmm.
mouth. She goes to school the next day, kid does the same thing, in the mouth. Immediately her phone
Yeah.
rings. Oh, this is so and so calling. There was an incident today.
Mm-hmm.
Nisi hit Shantal in the mouth. He has a bloody mouth, blah, blah, blah. She asked the teacher what happened. She's kind of like beating around the bush. So she said, did she not report to you for the last couple of weeks that this kid has
Yep.
been bothering her? Did you do anything about it? The lady goes silent. She said, okay, have a good day.
Yeah.
Same way.
And that
Hmm.
is a
That's
sad reality. That is a sad reality because since Azalea have been back, like when she started going to school in Jamaica, of course she had the emotional stuff that she was going through when it comes down to tantrums, because she was just going off of how she was behaving when she was over here, and the teacher was
Hmm.
able to work with her and basically work through her tantrums, was able to listen to her. And mind you, my daughter love attention, okay? And
Hmm.
then
I
especially
think
when
it's
you
a thing
when you're
with
light
kids,
skin,
but
she'll love it even more, okay? So it's like when she's at that school, the teacher would have her in her hand while she's reading, and she will talk to the other kids and then put Azalea in the front of the class. So it's like to her, it's like this person is listening. So her
Hmm.
tantrums are no little to non-existent since she's come
Yeah.
over here. And to me,
Because
that
some
is
kids
a
just need different
big,
attention.
exactly, that is a
big
big
jump,
Yeah.
step.
right?
So I think one of the parenting triumphs that I was like, I'm really proud of is just stepping away from my needs and focusing on her needs, because this is something that she needed in the time that she's in it. Because to me, a lot of mental constraints start from a very early age. And if I was like, oh, you're going to stay here, you're going to go to school here, I think I would have forced her to deal with a lot of crap, and then a lot of
Mm-hmm.
things would flow over into the home when she gets home, and the tantrums would have still continued and blah blah blah. But since she's been there, I can see the growth, I can see the change, and I can see that she's
Hmm.
getting a little bit better, as just like being able to socialize with other kids her age and able to share and able to play and not go off because something happened and somebody didn't listen, you know?
Yeah,
So
that's
that
true.
is just one of the big things that I'm really proud of. And I know Chantal is going to be leaving us now. She's going to bed because
In
she
two
has her
minutes.
sessions. Um,
Still have 2 minutes.
but I am grateful for you being here and spending that time with us and just unveiling with us as we deep dive into motherhood.
Thank you for having me.
Now, wasn't that a lovely session? I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. Part 2 was amazing. I had fun editing it, and oh my gosh, I relived some of the memories when I was telling my stories. But I hope you were able to tag along to the end of this episode. We will end up running into part 3, and part 3 is going to incorporate parenting styles, self care and well being, support systems, cultural and generational differences, tech and motherhood, workplace and motherhood. So much more topics that we will be touching on. Again, I am so happy you tuned into Unveiling with Nisi. See you in the next episode.